hard wilderness of a summer where I've had to suffer through baseball talk. Like, management doesn't want us to talk about the NFL. And you have no idea how, like, first off, I love the NFL. Like, you have no idea how absolutely difficult it is to do a show in which you desire to speak about the NFL and can't talk about the NFL. I'm not even trying to talk about the politics of the NFL. But, like, did the Giants make a mistake by not taking a quarterback? I want to talk about that. Will RG3 ever find his way back in the league? I want to talk about these things. Can't talk about these things. So what ends up happening, of course, is that I stand up here and talk about way too much college football. It's not way too much, but, like, there was a point we all had our lane. Sam covers local sports very nicely. Nick is your college guy, right? Nick is the biggest Vols fan I've ever seen in my life. And he's a nut for it. He knows everything. He's got an opinion on everything Vols. I have some opinions on a lot of things Vols. I have some opinions on a lot of things SEC. I am a really wide range college football watcher. I'll just watch anything. He is, like, really dialed in, and my lane was the NFL lane because I really like talking Titans and I really like talking Falcons, and here we are having this conversation. But still, a lot of stuff happened. We're getting close to college football, so I will just ramp up. We're just gonna have lots of college football. Is really what it is. With Nuga Radio 92.7, you're home for college football, apparently. So I'd like to get into all that because Alabama's got the whole, are we going with Jalen Hurts? Are we going with Tua Tagovailoa? I really do want to talk about that because I think that's a really fun thing to talk about. And also, like, does it matter? And then LSU decided to go with their quarterback for this season. It's an interesting choice. We'll get there. But first, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods and his comeback tour. He was at Boston at Northern Trust. He played well again. But Tiger Woods has been caught up in something that increasingly a lot of athletes have been caught up in. And that is talking about politics. Because a lot of athletes are in a position now where you can't win, especially if you are Tiger Woods, because Tiger Woods, you are a black golfer and you are the most well-known and you are a minority in, like, you are a minority of minorities, right? Like, you're already a minority in the US, and then you're a minority of the guys that do what you do. And then you're a minority of the guys that are good enough to do what you do. So, like, Tiger Woods is already just sort of in a space where it's in a tough spot. And he's in a lose-lose situation, I realized. Because Tiger Woods was asked about Donald Trump and what he felt about Trump, and that he knew about, he played golf with Trump before. He's had dinner with Trump before he became president. He's still knows him now, and he talked about knowing him now. But Tiger Woods refused to commit to criticizing Donald Trump. He said you have to respect the office, which isn't untrue, right? Like, that guy's still the president. Now, whether or not you think he's good at the job, I don't. You don't have to agree. But he's still the president. Like, there's still a certain level of respect that comes with someone that the people selected to do that job, which is what Tiger Woods said. And I don't think that Tiger Woods is crazy or insane, but Tiger Woods was never going to win this. If Tiger Woods talks about Trump and supports him, somebody's going to blast him. If he talks about Trump and denounces him, someone's going to blast him. Why is he making this political? Why is he talking about this in a way that's political? And Tiger Woods did something that you're not allowed to do as an athlete when people want your opinion. Tiger Woods took no stance whatsoever. Tiger Woods did not want to have an opinion on Donald Trump. He doesn't want to have an opinion on Donald Trump. It's a game you can't win. Even if you choose not to play the game. Tiger Woods chose not to play the game. Isn't that crazy? He basically said nothing. He did the coach thing. He flapped his gums and he said nothing. Tiger Woods turned into Dan Mullen for a solid 15 minutes and still couldn't win. Still couldn't win. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't say anything egregious. He didn't go after the president. He didn't not go after the president. He just said, look, you have to respect the office. That's all he said, which is a true statement. And for some reason, Max Kellerman, who's a guy that I really respect and appreciate and like, And he's a really smart dude. But Max Kellerman went after Tiger Woods for not having a stance, for not having a side on an issue when all Tiger Woods would like to be is a golfer. I know this because you could just see it in his face. He doesn't want to answer these questions. And I have respect enough for people to know this. You have to let people do what they want. If they're not hurting anybody, you have to let them do what they want. Tiger Woods doesn't want to be political. You have to let him not be political. In the same way that LeBron James does want to be political and Aaron Rodgers does want to be political. And you have to let him be political. I mean, the people that complain, and it's crazy because it seems to be about a 50-50 split. There's a group of people that complain that there are politics in their sports. Right? Like they can't stand the fact that things are so political. Like, how could you politicize football as though there were non-political things? But then there's like an equal and opposite group of people who think you've got to politicize everything. And honestly, the right way of going about this is to let people do what they want. If you want to have a stance, if you want to use your platform to say something, you can. It makes perfect sense. You have every right to it. And if people want to listen to you, they can. This is why the players kneeling, if you are upset about players kneeling, I'll never understand you. I'll never understand you. That's what they want to do. It's not hurting you. It doesn't make the football worse. Right? It's not that while they're kneeling, the flag suddenly isn't red, white, and blue. So what are you complaining about? But I also don't understand Max Kellerman. Why does Tiger Woods have to take a political stance on something? Why? He doesn't want to. And to be honest with you, not everybody should. There are people who do not understand politics, who have an opinion, and they do more damage and they do more harm than good because they don't know what they're talking about. And people still listen to them despite the fact that they have no clue what they're talking about. None whatsoever. So it's crazy. It is really crazy that is the case. I thought if you said something political and people went after you, that makes sense. Because you put a target on your back. You actually choose to have a stance on something and people decide, specifically those who disagree with what it is that you're talking about, yeah, I'm going after this guy. I'm going after you. I think that you should say something. But I never thought we'd come to a time where a guy doesn't say anything, tries to avoid conflict. Like that's an actual thing that people do. Some of us try to avoid it. Some of us enjoy it. When you look at guys who play running back in football, there are guys who avoid the contact, right? Like you're more of your scat backs, speedsters. They avoid the contact. Reggie Bush, for much of his career, especially in college when he was at his best, Reggie Bush avoided contact. And that was great for the way that he played the game. Some guys relish contact. I was watching Leonard Fournette highlights the other day. And the thing that surprises me about Leonard Fournette is that Leonard Fournette enjoys when someone attempts to hit him. He loves it. He loves it. I watched one play, I think it was against the Steelers, not in the playoff game, but in the regular season when they beat him. And Leonard Fournette was running, and he waved at the guy like, come here, come at me. And then he hit him. He crushed him. Leonard Fournette loves contact. But what you wouldn't say about Leonard Fournette or Alvin Kamara, who are both very good running backs in their own right, you wouldn't say that one of those guys is doing it wrong. He's just doing it the way that's best for him. Tiger Woods is avoiding contact. He doesn't want any parts of these problems. He doesn't want any of these questions. Like, I'm sure Tiger Woods actually does have an opinion on Trump. I don't know what it is. Maybe he likes him. Maybe he doesn't like him. But I do know that Tiger Woods does not want to wind up in Donald Trump's Twitter. He doesn't want Trump praising him. He doesn't want Trump denouncing him. He doesn't want any of those problems. He is avoiding contact. And you know what? If you avoid contact like Tiger Woods and Reggie Bush, or you relish the contact like you're Leonard Fournette or LeBron James, There's no wrong way to do this. Like, there's no wrong way to be a American. What has gotten into all of us? Are we insane? Are we crazy? There's no wrong way to do this. And I worry about this because I see it happen in sports all the time. If we come down on an athlete for this, it's not long before it happens to the rest of us. Sports, it gives us that little window. It lets us know this is what's acceptable. And if we do it to athletes, guess what? We're going to do it to regular people soon enough. And if Tiger Woods can't not have an opinion, then we're getting to a point where no one can just say, you know what? I really don't know. I really don't know. And that's just got to be fine, guys. Like, we have to stop being insane. This is absolutely absurd. You're listening to All New Nuga Radio and NugaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. The Locker Room Show with Sam Jordan, Keon Rose filling in for Sam. Louisville is preparing for their season opening game with Alabama, and a lot is going on in that arena in that Alabama has not yet chosen their quarterback. Jalen Hurts was their quarterback for 2 years, and he's been nothing short of exceptional, except that, you know, he has some postseason troubles throwing the football. And Tua Tagovailoa, who was a freshman last year, stepped in the national championship game, threw the football amazingly, was a huge part of the reason why Alabama was able to beat Georgia and win the national championship. Tua wants to play. Jalen obviously wants to play. He's won 26 games in his time as a starter, in his brief time as a starter. So there's a lot of winning that young man has done. He's given Alabama another dimension that they never previously had. I'm very interested, and I'm very curious about where Alabama's going to go with their quarterback situation. And Nick Saban has said, I don't know. None of that's been decided. And that's crazy. I'm sorry. The season, Alabama's season starts Saturday. There's no way on the face of this earth that Nick Saban and this coaching staff hasn't decided. Of course they've decided. Are you out of your gourd? Of course he's decided. He just can't say he's decided because he wants to try and make Bobby Petrino guess. This is what Nick Saban does. But like how he goes about doing this, why couldn't he just say, I'm not telling you? I've decided, but I'm not telling you. Why are we pretending as though Nick Saban doesn't know who his quarterback is? Because you know what I think? And it seems like a no-brainer to me. Bobby Petrino and Louisville are trying to figure out which quarterback to prepare for. Prepare for both. And not because you might see either, but because you might see both. You're going to see heavy doses of Jalen Hurts, and you're going to see heavy doses of Tua Tagovailoa. I do think Nick Saban doesn't know which guy to really go with. But when a reporter asked Nick Saban who's going to get most of the time, are they going to split time? Nick Saban knows that they're going to split time. Of course they're going to split time. It's the most obvious logical decision. This is an Alabama team that wins opening games. So you might see both, if not on the sheer fact that Alabama is going to be beating Louisville to death so badly that you have to go with the other guy. Like you have to go with it at least on the basis of that. This is an Alabama team that's 11-0 in season openers. They're 8-0 in neutral site kickoffs in the Nick Saban era. This is a team that wins opening days in the Nick Saban era by an average score of 36-14, which is to say that they regularly beat the brakes off of whoever it is that they're playing. And Louisville, sans Lamar Jackson, look, these guys don't stand a chance. They don't stand a chance. Which quarterbacks are you going to see? Both of them. It doesn't even matter who you see first. You'll see both of them, and you'll see both of them a lot. Why wouldn't you? And why wouldn't you expect that? That team is loaded at every position, and Alabama, it's crazy to me because that's the one level that I always thought Alabama needed to have. Right? Be loaded at quarterback. They've never really been loaded at quarterback, and very often it feels like they've won national championships under Saban in the past despite that. Now, they're loaded at quarterback too, aside from being loaded at running back and basically every part of their offensive and defensive line. This is an issue that Alabama's never had. Like, other teams have this. LSU had it this past offseason. I mean, they've always had it, but they had it last year with Danny Etling. They had it this year. They decided to go with Joe Burrows. We'll talk about him a little bit later. Tennessee gets a transfer in Keller Christ, and him and Garantano had to battle it out. Looks like they're leaning towards Keller Christ. Auburn last year with Jarrett Stidham. I mean, they knew ultimately that Stidham was their guy, but when he first got there, he did have to battle for the spot and earn the spot, right? Like other schools go through this often. Alabama typically does not go through who's our quarterback? I don't know. Because it's never been important. If you can not turn the ball over, Alabama's going to win most games on the strength of they can run better than most and they defend better than everyone. Just on the strength of that, they've just got NFL athletes all over that roster. So, I mean, of course, this is not an issue that they've ever had. But now, to have a legitimate Tua's an NFL player, to be clear. I don't know what Jalen is. Jalen, I think, is too limited as a thrower to say that he's an NFL quarterback, but he's an NFL caliber athlete. You definitely can't look at Jalen Hurts and not say that. The athleticism is there. I think his arm is not strong enough, and his decision-making as a thrower hasn't really improved in his time as an Alabama quarterback. So it's a little tough to say that Jalen Hurts is an NFL player. But that Tua Tagovailoa, and I know the sample size is small. It is exactly 1/2 of national championship football and some moments there, here and there throughout the regular season prior. But that being said, that guy is the real deal. That is an NFL quarterback. That is a young man who is going to be drafted in the first 3 rounds into the NFL one day. That is a fact. This is the first time that 2 NFL caliber athletes have been Alabama quarterbacks in the Nick Saban era, and they've had to choose. And if you are, in Alabama and you're playing Louisville, who you're going to dismantle week 1, play them both. See what you have. Now you've got live game time reps. And the only thing more insulting is that Nick Saban doesn't seem to really care to play the game of, look, we know what this is. We all know what this is. Why are you pretending that we don't know? This is the thing that only coaches are capable of doing. Only coaches are capable of having you stand there, looking you dead in your face. You know exactly what it is that they want to do, but we all have to play the charade of nobody knows what the coach is going to choose. It's like an emperor's new clothes kind of deal. We all know the emperor's naked, but nobody can say anything. Nobody's allowed to say, you have 2 freaking great quarterbacks. Play them both. You are playing them both, right? And Nick Saban could just go, yeah, I don't want to say. Because he could do that. And that would silence it. I think with the media gets a bad rep for coming at players and coming at coaches incorrectly sometimes. We overstep our bounds. I'm fully aware of why it is that people hate us. It's not lost on me why people dislike us in the media. It's not a shock. I'm very aware of why. But the reason why we do that is because coaches, players, a lot of times, they don't want to talk about issues. And rather than be honest and say, I don't want to talk about this, they just straight up lie. So then you get the counterbalance, which is some reporter asking you some question that seems kind of funny and seems particularly hurtful. No one's trying to do that, but you just got to be honest. Nick Saban is not being honest. He's starting both of these quarterbacks. He's playing both of these quarterbacks. And you can't tell me you don't know the season starts Saturday. It's not even in 7 days. You're listening to All New Nuga Radio, NugaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. LSU They have a starting quarterback. His name is Joe Burrow. We'll talk about him next.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM. 3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news. Now.
Chattanooga police say an officer unintentionally fired his department-issued firearm 3 times, hitting a person who had just committed suicide. The incident happened Sunday morning. Police spokesperson says officers arrived telling the person who was acting suicidal to put down the gun. The person shot and killed themselves. According to the CPD release, the officer then accidentally fired 3 rounds, hitting a chair twice and the leg of the person. All officers on the scene are on leave as the investigation continues. And taking the top spot in consumer loyalty, CHI Memorial Hospital Chattanooga was recently recognized at the 2018 NRC Health Symposium in California for earning the #1 ranking. Other hospitals in Tennessee that made the top 100 include University of Tennessee Medical Center in Knoxville and Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville. The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays from 3 to 6 on Nuga Radio. Val St. John for Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News Now.
David Toulis. I made the move 1 o'clock every weekday afternoon, 1 till 3, Nuga Radio.
92.7 Chattanooga weather.
Expect clear skies to continue through your nighttime. Warm, muggy, overnight lows only 70 to 72. Now for your Wednesday, another hot, humid day, highs 88 to 90. A few isolated afternoon showers and storms, though, will pop up with scattered showers and storms a little more likely later Thursday. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world-famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Source E12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
The Trail of Tears, an important part of American history, slowly fading away. But for 25 years, bikers across the nation, along with the Trail of Tears Memorial Association, have gathered together every September to ride and remember. Crockett Power Sports Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga is proud to be a part of this tradition. Join Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga Friday, September 14th for a pre-ride rally. Starting at 4, there's vendors, food, music, and a chance to gather and fellowship with your tribes. The Trail of Tears Memorial Ride starts Saturday the 15th, 7 a.m. at Reggie White Boulevard. Kickstands up at 9 a.m. sharp. Go to CrockettPowersports.com for route information, ride rules, safety tips, and all other information about the ride and its cause. Join the pre-ride rally at Crockett Powersports Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign on 153 and Amnicola. Friday the 14th from 4 to 8. Grab your leather, gas your tanks. We ride, rain or shine, in honor of the true American originals.
If you want to discover the real hope for your life through inspirational music, relevant messages, and testimonies from others who have already found hope, then we encourage you to visit the 2nd annual My Hope Conference, October 7th through 9th at Hickson First Baptist Church. Free admission and childcare is provided for kids up to pre-K, while those in kindergarten through 5th grade will attend the Kids Hope Rally. For more info, visit myhopeconference.com or call Hickson First Baptist Church at 423-877-2467.
Let's face it, Old Faithful isn't as faithful as it used to be. Constant repairs are a hassle and can rack up quick in money and time. Landers McClarty Ford can fix that. Right now, you can get a 2016 Ford Focus, 34,000 miles, only $11,491. A 2017 Chevy Spark with only 17,000 miles for less than $12,000. A 2015 Volkswagen Jetta with less than 21,000 miles for $11,991. Yeah, browse their entire inventory of new and new-to-you cars, trucks, and SUVs online at Landers McCarty Ford at FortPayne.com. Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. If you can't find your next perfect ride, they'll go find it for you. Big city selection, small town prices, friendly service, and top dollar for your trade. The savings are waiting and only a short drive away, so what are you waiting for? Get started with your personalized shopping today at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com.
For true extra
Jr. is off the pace and he is headed to the pit lane. Elliott powers around the outside. Michael McDowell pops a right front tire. Here's Martin Truex to the bottom. Blaney blocks him off too. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott went 4 wide on the back straightaway. They're side by side for the lead.
Hear it live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Nuga Radio, 92.7 FM, 95.3 HD4.
The voice of NASCAR.
Join Nuga Radio and the Gridiron Gang live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore. We're talking all things high school football. There's a specialty brew or refresher weekly inspired by the game of the week. Sweet treats, extended hours all season long, and we're pet friendly. Portions of all proceeds support local schools and educational scholarships as well as after-school programs. It's football time in Tennessee. Join us every Thursday live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks, 10 North, your North Shore neighborhood living room.
Call 423-875-3600 if you're looking to expand your professional look of your business. Then consider the vast opportunities that are available when you locate your office with the Rains Group family. Remember, it's location, location, location. And the Rains Group has the location for your professional office. Check out the spaces for lease at Executive Business Park on the Lee Highway. Small or large, we will build to suit your needs with the Rains Group. Call 423-875-3600 for the business professionals with the Rains Group.
The kids are back in school, routine has returned, and we've shifted our thoughts to the fast approaching holiday season. Are you hosting? Want to spruce up before your guests arrive? Whether you want new color and exciting wallpaper or elegant window treatments, the designers at Chattanooga Paint and Decorating can help. With brands like York, Tebow, Graber, and Carroll, we know you'll find something you love. Stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today. It's really more than just a paint store. On Hicks and Pike, across from Valvoline, or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nuga Radio. Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio. It's the moment you've been waiting for. Sam Jordan's Nuga Radio, 92.7 Sports, now.
You're listening to The Locker Room Show with Sam Jordan, Keon Rose filling in for Sam. Get your high school football spirits in high gear on Thursday nights with Nuga Radio's Gridiron Gang Show live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore. Then join Sam Jordan on Friday nights with the countdown to kickoff presented by One-on-One Personal Training beginning at 7. Then later, me and Nick will bring you all of the excitement of high school football and the game of the week at 7:30 this Friday night. Red Bank coming off of an electrifying victory, their first game of the season because they didn't get to play against Saudi Daisy in the actual week 1. So their first game of the season in week 2, and Red Bank pulling off the last second overtime victory. They're going to visit Signal Mountain. They're going up the mountain, which means, of course, that Nick and I will be going up the mountain too in order to witness this game. And we're going to have head coach Chris Brown back on the Gridiron Gang Show with us. He's great guest, great guy. Good coach, and he was on last week. We appreciate the time that he took to join us last week, and we're looking forward to having him back again. So we're going to be having a blast. Join us, Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore. Have some coffee. They have a specialty drink of the week. There's going to be a Red Bank drink. There's going to be a Signal Mountain drink. I don't know what those drinks are. I don't know if they're going to have the same drink for Red Bank that they did last week. Last week, the drink was it was a strawberry drink with lemonade, and it was delicious. It was fantastic. I loved it. So we're going to have a drink of the week for Red Bank again. Maybe the same drink, maybe a different drink. And if you weren't out there last time, well, you'll have to try both, won't you? You know, I believe that's running all week long up until Friday of the night of the game. And of course, at Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore, they're pet friendly. They even have treats just there for your dog if you want. I mean, treats, they have water bowls. You know, you just walk by, you want to go to the park, swing by, join us for a segment or two. We'd love to meet you. We got to shake some hands and meet some people, right? Calvin came out last week. If you listen to the shows, we'd like to hear from you. You know, just get to know you. Talk some sports. Talk some shop. Pass through and enjoy some coffee at Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore, your neighborhood living room. And then, of course, after the game, Red Bank and Signal Mountain. After that game, Sam Jordan was going to get you up to date with all the scores and highlights from across the region with the fifth quarter show. Sports is super at Nuga Radio 92.7 FM. I want to shift gears here to the NBA because Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward are healthy again. And I think that this is fascinating for just the one major reason of that's the best team in the Eastern Conference, right? I know people were handing it off to Toronto with Kawhi, and Kawhi makes you a contender, especially in the East. Don't get me wrong. In fact, if I were Kawhi, and I know Kawhi wants to wind up in LA and there's blah, 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 big market, whatever. Toronto's a beautiful city. It has Drake, and you'd be the king of Toronto, and you'd be in the East. And I mean, Kawhi Leonard is the third best player in the league. It's LeBron, it's KD, it's Kawhi. Kawhi could feast on the Eastern Conference for the rest of his career if he stayed out there. But next year, he makes them a contender. I don't think he makes them the best team in the Eastern Conference. I still think it's Boston. You just look at how stacked that team is. You look at Golden State. What does Golden State do better than anybody else in the league? Well, they shoot threes. Look at Boston. Boston can shoot Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Gordon Hayward, Kyrie Irving, and Jaylen Brown would give you a starting lineup where a bunch of guys shoot over 45% from three. League average is 35. You have a whole starting lineup that can shoot threes. Is there a team that can beat Golden State? Yes, it's Boston, and Boston could beat Golden State at their own game. Like, Kyrie Irving is a reasonable matchup for Steph Curry, and he's a better defender than we give him credit for. So the question then comes down to two things. One, can Kyrie and this squad gel well enough together in order to be the kind of team we think they are and to actually be a contender in terms of they make it out of the East and you think they actually have a shot to win? Yes. Yes, Brad Stevens is the head coach of that basketball team. Of course they can. Like, if it were another coach, if it were a guy that didn't know what he was doing, if he was a bit hapless, but Brad Stevens is exactly the kind of coach that you would present this problem to because he's good enough to solve it. You've seen what he's been able to do when he's had great squads, and he hasn't had the biggest potential squad that he could have, right? Like, he's been cobbling together pieces, and I say cobbling together pieces, but let's face it, Jason Tatum is a high lottery pick. Jaylen Brown wasn't a high lottery pick, but he was a high first rounder. He has Al Horford on the squad, who we all know from his time in Atlanta can play the game. Al Horford is not going to ever go out there and get you 35 points, but Al Horford will get you 18 and 12 and be a very gifted passer and facilitate that offense. So in a lot of ways, you don't have to have a Kyrie who needs to facilitate the offense because that's not his strength. He's a scorer. He's a straight up assassin. You don't have to have Jason Tatum stop doing what he's doing because Jason Tatum is young Carmelo Anthony. I mean, he's a very, very ISO heavy, can get a bucket in a one-on-one situation. And he acts as the guy that can get you a bucket when there is no way you can get a bucket. He acts as that character. Kevin Durant is that for the Warriors. Jason Tatum can be that for the Celtics, and he's very young. So when he can't do that, Kyrie can. I mean, Boston is built to contend for years. And Toronto isn't because they have to figure out if they're going to keep Kawhi. Boston is, even though they haven't locked up Kyrie Irving. Will they lock up Kyrie Irving? You'd have to think yes, right? Because Kyrie's still the face of this team. Now, the threat is there that Jason Tatum could overshadow him. And we know that Kyrie doesn't like to be overshadowed. It's one of the big reasons why he moved away from LeBron James. He just doesn't want someone to overshadow him. But also, Kyrie doesn't want someone to play his dad. Kyrie Irving's dad is very much alive and well. Kyrie Irving does not want somebody playing his dad. right? So that wouldn't be the case in Boston. In fact, you could be the guy that could be the mentor because your whole team's young. Kyrie's only really in that starting lineup, really only younger than Al Horford. Right? Like Kyrie's very young, has a chance to win a championship, knows what it takes. Knows what it takes. This Boston team is dangerous, absolutely dangerous. And the only thing that can stop Boston outside of Golden State in a NBA Finals type situation would be Kawhi and the Raptors. And you have to give Kawhi and the Raptors a chance just because whoever is going to be hot on that Boston team, Kawhi can eliminate that person from the existence of the game because he's such a talented defender. And Toronto is not a poorly built team. It's not like Kawhi joined a team where it's just him. He's joined a team that's very young. It's a young group of guys outside of Kyle Lowry who feels like he's a million years old. But Lowry's going to be a good floor general. And you've got Siakam. And you've got all of these other younger pieces, just talented guys. And I don't want to say he's an upgrade from DeMar DeRozan, except he's an upgrade from DeMar DeRozan. He's a better defender. I think he's a more consistent scorer. Your only question is two questions with Kawhi. Can you keep him? That's still left to be determined because if they go out there and struggle, no, you can't. But the other question you have with Kawhi is, will Kawhi give up on you? Because Kawhi gave up in San Antonio. That is 100% true. He was injured, yes, but just from the reports that are out there, he could have come back from the injury. The team tried to investigate what the deal was. He didn't come back. And even if he could not have come back from the injury, because I don't think it's fair for me, who is not Kawhi Leonard, don't know any of Kawhi's people, and don't know Kawhi himself, for me to speculate whether or not he could have played. But if your team is in the playoffs, and I've been watching basketball a long time, if your team is in the playoffs and you're injured, doesn't the injured guy go to the game? Don't you see guys who are injured sitting on the sideline in their suit, sitting in their tie? I remember Allen Iverson being injured with the Sixers forever ago, and Allen Iverson showed up, and the NBA didn't want him to show up because he showed up with 100 chains and a long t-shirt and baggy jeans and the backwards cap and the cornrows and the tattoos. And the league didn't like it, but Allen Iverson was there supporting his team. But Kawhi Leonard, who we have just attributed some kindness to, some niceness to, was by all intents and purposes an awful teammate. Even when you're hurt, even when you're going through rehab, and even when you can't play. If your team is in the playoffs trying to make a run, they support them. Support them. You see these guys every day. They're your coworkers. Don't you want the best for your team? I don't understand that. That I will never understand. And that's why I think that he quit on the team. He did quit on the team. There's no doubt about it. So if you're Toronto, I think that's the one question you have. Will Kawhi Leonard quit on us? You don't know the answer to that question. If Kawhi Leonard is a little bit dinged and doesn't want to be there, you're powerless to do anything with him. Right? Outside of, you've got the trade deadline in February. You might have another chance to move him for still more pieces. It's still a smart move if you're Toronto, because you did have to reboot. You weren't going anywhere with the squad, with the roster as currently designed. So you did need a Kawhi Leonard reboot. But you may need to do something if you don't get the most out of Kawhi in this one season. If he quits on you, like he quit on the Spurs in San Antonio. You have to have that in the back of your mind. That has to be a thought. You're listening to All New Nougat Radio, NougatRadio.com here on 92.7 FM, home of the countdown to kickoff every Friday at 7, as well as the high school football game of the week, presented right here on Nougat Radio 92.7 FM with me and Nick LaFew. This week's game of the week, Red Bank visiting Signal Mountain. Nick and I will be going up the mountain. We got to watch that thriller in Red Bank last week, which, boy, You talk about a fantastic football game. They were playing Central. That game was back and forth, and it looked at several moments like it was going to get out of hand. When Central first scored, it looked like Red Bank didn't have a rhythm going, and we were worried just doing the game because when you call the game, you really would like the game to be fun and entertaining and engaging. It keeps you in it. The worst thing that could ever happen is for us to have to call a blowout, because you're trying to stay excited and interesting, but you have to be there for the whole thing, even though you know the outcome of the game. And Central got going early, and it looked like they were really going to overpower Red Bank, and we were going, oh boy, well, Red Bank hasn't really found an offensive rhythm, and then they did find it. And then they did find it to the tune of 20 unanswered points. So it started going the other way, and we went, well, boy, we don't know what Central's going to do. Central playing from behind, it's always going to be tough for Central to play from behind. Central runs the ball. They're not interested in throwing it for the most part, but they were able to find some offense through the air in large part because of their discipline in running the football. They made some openings. I mean, there are play fakes that you're just going to bite on because they are so relentless in pounding the football again and again and again. When they do hit you with a fake, there is not a defender back there. Everybody bites on it. And we've seen it. We saw it happen two times in that game, and both of those times resulted in scores for Central. And then, there was an extra point, and we thought, well, boy, maybe Central's going to pull out a victory here. And Red Bank blocked the kick, and so we ended up going into overtime, and it was a wonderful game. And Chris Brown, the head coach of Red Bank High School, what a first win. I don't know if you could script that any better. Could you? I don't know if you really could. That is one of the best things that I have ever been a part of. And, I hope we get to continue the trend. Every game is not going to be that thrilling. Like, it just can't be. I'd love for it to be, but that's just not possible. But what a great first game. And we're going to have so many great games on the schedule throughout the season. That's just one. Granted, we did get caught up in a little bit of a Red Bank bonanza to start the year. We were supposed to do the Red Bank Saudi game, which that one got rained out. Then we did Red Bank and Central, and now we're doing Red Bank and Signal Mountain. I get it. But in fairness, Red Bank had, in our opinion, some of the most interesting games at the start of the season. There's no denying it. And Signal Mountain, by the way, Signal Mountain coming off of a loss to Tyner, they are winless. So this is a big-time game for Signal Mountain. Playing Red Bank, it's a rivalry game, so these games already matter a ton. But Signal Mountain, we all thought they were going to be better than this. We all thought that Signal Mountain had more in the tank than this. They want their season to be a good, respectable season. You still want to make playoffs. They have to win. They have to win right now. And Red Bank wants to continue this. They've got something started here. Something is being built at Red Bank High School, and it's going to be amazing. You want to keep that momentum going and rolling forward. That's how big-time matchups get made. You're listening to All New Nuga Radio and NugaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. Joe Burrows is the starting quarterback of LSU per a depth chart that someone got to see earlier in the day that got leaked from LSU's camp. And I don't know too much about Joe Burrows. He played behind JT Barrett at Ohio State. LSU wanted to get him really bad, and they did. They beat out Cincinnati for his services. Joe Burrows is a dual threat quarterback, big body, strong arm. And it's exciting because the fact that he was at Ohio State and the fact that Urban Meyer is at Ohio State tells you what kind of quarterback that Joe Burrows is. Because that's the kind of guy that Urban Meyer always recruits. Urban Meyer always recruits your Tim Tebow's, your JT Barrett's. I mean, we even saw Cardell Jones. Cardell Jones at Ohio State, he's incredibly gifted in terms of his arm strength and his arm talent. And I don't know. I mean, it didn't turn out as anything in the NFL. He made the jump to the NFL because wisely he noticed that he was never going to be as hot that year as the year where he just won, 4 games in a row for him. and got them a national championship victory. He was never going to have more buzz surrounding him than in that moment. So obviously he jumps to the NFL. I think it's the best decision he could have made, and it's clearly a smart decision. What I want to know is, with Joe Burrows and LSU, does Joe Burrows finally give LSU the best quarterback they've had since Jamarcus Russell? And say what you want about Jamarcus Russell as an NFL quarterback. Jamarcus Russell as a college quarterback was awesome. Jamarcus Russell as a college quarterback could heave the ball 90 yards flat-footed. I mean, Jamarcus Russell as a college prospect was absolutely fun. And he goes to the NFL, he busts with the Raiders, and we don't see another quarterback at LSU since. It's a little uncanny, is it not? What was that, 06? Les Miles goes in there, wins at LSU with Jamarcus Russell in 06. LSU hasn't had a quality quarterback since 2006. That is over a decade, y'all. Like, when you look at just logically, it seems improbable. No one has had a run that dry. I mean, you could look at Tennessee and go, well, were any of the Tennessee quarterbacks in that time span world beaters? I mean, not really, but Josh Dobbs is pretty dang good. They got some good moments out of Justin Worley. I mean, Florida since then has at least had Tebow. LSU might have the longest running quarterback drought of any team in college athletics. And it seems ridiculous. Joe Burrows comes in, and I'm amazed at what it took for him to win the job. Work ethic. It was his work ethic. What were guys doing before at LSU? I'm seriously asking this question. I know this sounds like I'm making fun of LSU, and I am a little bit. But, like, what were they doing before? Like, working hard is part of being a quarterback of a major college football program. I mean, I wish him the best. I don't know exactly what it is that Joe Burrows can turn around. Everyone seems to be absolutely impressed by him. And I think that that's going to give LSU a boost that maybe a lot of people aren't expecting this season. But this might be the longest active drought in college football athletics in terms of quality quarterback play. Clutch with Keon Rose, next.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio, Digital FM 95.3.